Welcome to the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast. Today we're going to be discussing owning your money, the steps to financial freedom. Welcome back to the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast. I'm Heather Oliboni. I am joined here with Joseph Jex, who is a Dave Ramsey-trained preferred financial coach. And today we're going to be talking about owning your money, the steps to financial freedom. Hi, Joe. Thank you for joining us.
Hi, thank you for letting me be here.
Absolutely. Okay, so before we dive into the details of financial freedom and how do you get there, because we know that's such a tough subject for a lot of adults nowadays, let's get to know you a bit better. Can you share a fun or unique fact about yourself that our listeners may not be aware of?
I grew up in Alabama, originally born out west, but grew up in the northern part of Alabama. So I'm a huge Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
I don't know if I can say that being from Florida. Awesome. So what inspired you to become a financial coach with Dave Ramsey?
You know, when I decided to start down this career path, it was really a matter of who am I? What kind of person am I? What do I like to do? What's my ambition, my passions, and stuff like that? And I really, all of my career, even when I had jobs, was in the training field. Mm-hmm. I love to train. And so coaching was the next step, right? Mm-hmm. Becoming a coach. And I've had coaching jobs before and coaching careers before, but I really wanted to niche down and find out what it was, right? I'm the happiness hero. So what makes people happy, mm-hmm. right? And money, cash, is very emotional for people.
Absolutely.
You know, anytime you spend money, that's one of the reasons that they came out with credit cards. There's no emotional attachment to a piece of plastic.
Very true.
Right? You're very attached to your cash. And when you see your income come in and your income go out, that's very emotional. And so the easiest way to get people to be happy is fixing their money.
Absolutely. Okay, so if you could go back to the future, like 10 years ago, and you could give yourself one piece of advice, what's that one piece of advice you'd give yourself?
Stay out of debt. You know, don't.
When you say that, what kind of debt do you mean specifically?
Mostly consumer debt, using your credit cards.
Okay.
You know, that's just, you just become a slave to the financial industries. Mm-hmm. You know, those credit cards were designed, you know, to keep you in debt. Your FICO score is designed to keep you in debt, right? Mm-hmm. You're in debt. How well do you pay it off so we can give you more debt, right?
Absolutely.
So just staying out of that. You know, student loans are the same thing. You know, that's just a way to keep you in debt. Most people come out of college and they don't get a degree, right, mm-hmm. or a job that allows them to be able to pay that student loan off. They don't think about that. You know, they're just thinking, hey, here's some money, I can get my education.
Yeah.
You know, and they don't think about, well, what's that job going to pay me? Am I going to be able to repay that student loan debt? I mean, 35 million people are in default of their student loans right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and that's one of those things that they taught certain generations is go to school, but they didn't teach you what do you do after.
Right.
So, makes sense. Could you tell us what you're currently working on? Do you have any exciting projects that are in the pipeline right now?
Probably the project that I'm working on right now is what are the steps? What are Dave Ramsey calls them baby steps, mm-hmm. right? But what are the steps? You know, what's the smallest, simplest thing I can do right now to start working towards that financial freedom? And eventually, you know, the ultimate goal is to get your retirement, you know, down mm-hmm. so you can be free financially. Absolutely. And not have to worry about that, you know, mm-hmm. when you're out doing whatever you want to do for your retirement.
Yes.
But yeah, what is the simplest step, right? What's very, very simple? And the simplest step is getting your budget lined up.
Yeah.
You know, getting your budget written down. Yep.
So budget is a big thing.
Yes.
Given your extensive experience in financial coaching, what are some of the current trends or developments that you find particularly interesting or noteworthy?
Hey everyone, we want to interrupt this episode to let you know that we are a Keller Williams Southern Arizona franchise.
We are also realtors practicing equal housing. Now let's get you back to the podcast.
Everybody talks about their FICO score, mm-hmm. right? And FICO is basically your enemy, right? it was designed to keep you in debt, like we were talking about earlier, right? It's designed to keep you in debt. So my idea is to get people to stop worrying about the FICO score, right? We all know cash is king. We've heard it,
You hear it
throughout
for
our whole
years.
life. You hear it all the time. And so paying cash for things, you have no negotiable power, right? When you have cash, you don't have that when you have debt, right? You become, you don't have any decisions to make, right? Now somebody's controlling you, and credit cards specifically, because you don't. What's the good word for it? They're taking advantage of you. Every time you use a credit card, the banks or whoever controls that credit card is taking advantage of you. And if they're not taking advantage of you, they're taking advantage of somebody else. Because somebody's got, the points, airline miles, stuff like that. Somebody's got to pay for that. That stuff isn't free, right? So either you're getting taken advantage of or somebody else is taking advantage of somebody else.
Fair. What are some key takeaways or insights that you would like our listeners to remember?
Budget. Get your budget written down, right? We call it a zero-based budget, right? So you know where every dollar's coming in and where every dollar's going out, right? So if you have extra money at the end of your month, then where is that extra money going, right? It should be going to paying down that debt and getting rid of it, right? Some of the things we don't have any control over, like student loans, right? Especially if it's a federal, a FISA loan, right? FSA loans, you don't have any control over that. I mean, the government doesn't need a court order to garnish your wages for a financial, for a federal student loan. They could just send it to your bank and they got to pay it because it's the government, right?
Yeah.
Controlling you. With credit cards, you got a little bit more leeway there, but still, they're in control of what goes on.
Yeah.
When those creditors, when they call you trying to get a payment, right, most of their job is to get you emotionally involved in the decision, right, and get you upset so that they can get some money. That's what their main goal is. So just try not to get emotionally involved when the credit collection agencies are calling you trying to get money.
Yeah. Well, and that B word, the budget word, that everyone is so afraid of, because that kind of gives you that like black and white written out of like, this is what I'm spending my money on. Do I really need to be spending X amount of dollars on coffee or food, or what am I actually spending money on? And sometimes that's a bigger fear than knowing that there's not the money there.
Yeah.
It's like, what do I need to cut out? And that fear of not being able to do the luxuries.
And they don't want you to write down your credit card debt because then you'll see it. You
Yeah.
go, look at all that money I'm paying, and just a minimum payments to a credit card company.
Which is
They're
barely your interest
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah. And usually they're just like, they're letting you borrow your money and then charging you interest on it.
Yeah. For our listeners who are wanting to learn more about your work or to connect with you, where can they find you online or stay updated with you?
There'll be links
Down below.
to my website. It's got all my contact information on there. You can schedule a consultation. The consultations are free. It's about an hour's worth of just talking to you, see if you're, if we're a good fit together.
Yeah.
Because coaching is about building that relationship.
Yeah, that fun four-letter F word that everyone likes, free. I'd say that. That's the one that everyone likes because you don't have to do anything, and it's an insight for you.
Yep.
So, awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything else? What are your final thoughts that you'd like to share with us before we conclude?
Just give me a call, do the consultation. At the very minimum, you'll know where you stand financially, and what steps we can take. We'll put together a plan, and whether you decide to work with me or not, at least you'll have a plan on where to go forward to get financially free.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us here on the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast. And if you like what you hear, you want any more information, remember there are links down below, but like, follow, and share.
Thank you for listening and watching the Nitty Gritty of Real Estate podcast here with the Tom J. Krieger team of Keller Williams, Southern Arizona. If you are interested in buying a home, selling a home, or even investing in real estate, we have 5,000 agents across the country that we can connect you to. If you need any free resources, feel free to check out our website at www.thetjkteam.com. We hope you have a great day.